Hello, my name is Starla Henderson, and today we are going to be working on the leaves and the stems for our Fronterhouse Spring Sampler that we're working on. The leaves are what we're going to actually do today. The stems are pretty self-explanatory. They are just pretty well straight lines. You lay them down, baste them, and put them just based along the edges. But the leaves have curves, and they have some soft points that we're going to work on today. Because I want to use a thread that hopefully you can see a little bit better, I'm going to be working on a sample piece. And I've already basted and I've already trimmed off where we're going to start here. And you're going to go in and you're going to bury your knot. And I'm going to work, helps if you knot the end of your thread to bury. I'm going to go in, thread out. I'm going to go in here, bury my knot. We're going to start towards the top so that for time purposes I can get to that point a little quicker. We're going to take very tiny stitches, and as you get towards the end, there's going to, and it's going to be hard to see on this video, but as you get towards that end where the point is, you're going to want to bring your needle right up in at the very tip of that point. Where if it were laying out flat, because now it's turned, you would be coming up into the V of the point, right on the inside of those two lines where they meet in the V. You're going to come up, and I've already trimmed, but if I were going to be trimming this, I would anchor my thread by running my needle over the top of it to hold it out of the way. You're going to turn it, peel it back, and you're going to trim this to 1/8 of an inch, this inside that we have just turned. That will give you a little bit more room on the inside of your piece where we're getting ready to turn this fabric and stuff more down in there. It gives you more room to do that. So we've got that trimmed, and now this piece, you want it to be trimmed to it where it's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less. You're going to take your needle and you're going to put it in that end piece, and you're just going to swoop it under. Tug on your thread's coming out to pull that point out. I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, you're going to take your needle and swoop it under. And after you've done it a few times, your fabric starts to get a little limp and fraying. It makes it harder. So try and do it the first time. You might want to practice this like I'm doing on just some other piece of fabric and not on your actual piece. Once you get that done, you're going to continue to stuff this all the way down. And because it's such a little place, you're going to have a hard time getting a really sharp point. It's going to be a little bit more rounded just because you can't get all that fabric in there. And you're going to go back in where you came out, take as tiny a bite as you can, and come back up. And you're going to keep doing that all the way around that little point that you've just made, that little turn, until you get on down. Now you're going to keep right on going, and it makes more, because just the way I shape these leaves, it makes not really a point, but more of a little curve there. But it's a sharp curve more than a sharp point. Okay, as you get going, and this one that I drew is not near as curvy as some of them, you're going to get into some curves where it doesn't want to lay right because you've got a curve coming, so it kind of bunches up on you. So as you go into those curves, you're going to clip about every 1/4 of an inch all the way down that curve, and you're just going to do a section at a time, and this will make it lay like it's drawn. If if 1/4 of an inch isn't enough, you can go down to a little bit more, somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4, about 3/16 or so. As you get up to the next section that you've clipped, you want to go in fairly close to where that next section starts, but not right on it, and then you're going to turn the next section. See, and here's the next section. You can tell it's there. Just tuck that whole section under and keep right on going. And that's how you're going to do all of these leaves. Now, just like any other applique piece, you're going to applique the part of the pattern that is the farthest away from you. And the way I do that to keep myself straight a lot of times is I will take a section and I will look, and you can tell by looking at it if this is under this. And so I will applique the thing that's at the very bottom first. And there's a lot of layers, which we'll cover when we do our flowers. I'll actually number it 1, 2, 3, 4, and that way I don't get confused as time goes on. But that's how you do this, and you're going to applique just your leaves and your stems, and I do all of mine, and right now it looks rather strange because all you see is pieced background and leaves and stems sticking out with nothing covering them. But as we put the flowers on, it will be much easier to see it take shape. This is Starla Henderson, Fronterhouse Quilts blog. Thank you for joining me.